The first-time drive, Adrian Cole noticed the new resident. It was because she stood completely still in the middle of chaos. The ER was screaming, monitors beeping, nurses shouting vitals, a man bleeding out on a gurney, but she didn't flinch. Her hands were steady, her eyes focused, and her voice, when she spoke, cut through the noise like a calm promise. Pressure here, now, he's not leaving us today. Something in Adrian's chest tightened. In 20 years of medicine, wealth, and power, he had learned to recognize rare things. Talent was common, fearlessness was not. Adrian Cole was more than a doctor. He was a legend, a self-made millionaire surgeon who had built a private wing of the hospital with his own money, funded research grants, and appeared on medical panels across the country. People whispered about his success, his sharp mind, his colder-than-ice standards. Residents feared his rounds, administrators bowed to his name. He had saved thousands of lives, but somewhere along the way, he had stopped believing in miracles. Medicine, to him, had become precision, protocol, and profit. Until that night, her name was Dr. Maya Verma, first-year resident, no famous mentors, no prestigious family name, just long hours, worn shoes, and eyes that carried something deeper than ambition. Adrian watched from across the room as she worked with instinct that couldn't be taught. She caught a subtle rhythm change on the monitor before anyone else did. She adjusted medication without being told. When the patient stabilized, relief flickered across her face, not pride, not triumph, just quiet gratitude. Later that night, Adrian checked her file. Top of her class, scholarships, volunteer work in underfunded clinics. And one line that made him pause, primary caregiver to a chronically ill parent during medical school. He leaned back in his chair, staring at the ceiling of his office, a strange discomfort settling in his chest. He hadn't struggled like that. His rise had been brutal, but solitary. He had chosen ambition over attachment. Maya, it seemed, had carried both. Over the next few weeks, he noticed her everywhere. Staying late, taking the cases no one wanted, sitting with patients long after visiting hours ended. One evening, he saw her holding an elderly woman's hand, listening as if time itself had slowed. Adrian felt an unfamiliar irritation. That kind of softness, he believed, broke doctors. Compassion without boundaries led to burnout. He had built his empire by learning when not to feel. During rounds, he questioned her harder than the others. He interrupted. He challenged every decision. Maya answered calmly, sometimes correcting him with facts so precise the room went silent. Some residents smirked, waiting for her to crumble. She never did, but Adrian noticed the exhaustion in her eyes, the way she rubbed her wrist when she thought no one was watching. The breaking point came 3 months later. A young boy was brought in after a hit-and-run. Internal bleeding, no insurance. The mother was hysterical, clutching paperwork she didn't understand. The surgical team hesitated. Protocol demanded approvals, finances, clearances. Adrian stood at the foot of the bed, calculating risks, resources, costs. The hospital board had been strict lately. Pro bono cases were under scrutiny. Maya didn't wait. She prepped the boy for surgery, voice firm, movements fast. If we wait, he dies, she said. I'll take responsibility. Adrian snapped. You don't get to make that call, he said sharply. This isn't a classroom. She met his gaze, eyes blazing. No, this is a hospital. For a split second, time froze. Then Adrian did something no one expected. He nodded. Prep the OR. The surgery was brutal. Complications piled up. Twice, Adrian thought they would lose him. Maya assisted with a focus that bordered on ferocity, her hands trembling only once, when the monitor flatlined before jumping back to life. When it was over, the boy was alive. The board was furious. Adrian was summoned. Donations, reputation, rules, all thrown at him like weapons. He listened in silence, then surprised even himself. If saving lives is a liability, he said calmly, then you don't need me here. News spread fast. The millionaire doctor had challenged the system. Staff whispered. Residents watched Maya with a mix of awe and fear. She tried to keep her head down, but the guilt weighed on her. One night, Adrian found her in an empty stairwell, shoulders shaking. I didn't mean to cause trouble, she said, wiping her face. I just couldn't let him die. Adrian sat beside her, something heavy loosening in his chest. Neither could I, he admitted quietly. It was the first time in years he had said something honest without strategy behind it. That night, he went home to his empty penthouse, surrounded by art he never looked at, awards he never touched. He thought about the patients he had saved, and the ones he hadn't fought for hard enough. He realized, with a sharp ache, that somewhere along the way, he had confused success with significance. Maya's life, meanwhile, began to unravel. Her mother's condition worsened, medical bills stacked up, sleep became a luxury. During a long shift, she made a minor error, nothing fatal, but enough to trigger an investigation. She waited for Adrian's disappointment. Instead, he asked her one question. "Are you okay?" No one had asked her that in years. She broke down in his office, the walls of professionalism finally giving way. Adrian listened, truly listened, and for the first time understood what strength actually looked like. Not perfection, endurance. Behind the scenes, he moved quietly. He covered medical costs. He adjusted schedules. He took the heat from administration. When Maya found out, she confronted him, angry and embarrassed. "I didn't ask for your charity," she said. He smiled sadly. "This isn't charity. This is investment. In you. In what medicine is supposed to be." The investigation cleared her. The boy recovered fully. His mother brought cookies to the ward every week, tears in her eyes each time she saw Maya. Something shifted in the hospital. Residents began speaking up. Nurses felt heard. Adrian funded a new program, emergency care without financial delay. The board resisted. Public support crushed them. Months later, at a charity gala he despised, Adrian stood at the podium. Cameras flashed. Donors waited for numbers and promises. Instead, he told a story. Not about himself, but about a resident who reminded him why he became a doctor. Maya sat in the back, stunned, tears slipping down her face. In that moment, Adrian understood the truth that had taken him decades to learn. Money could build hospitals, but courage saved them. Skill could heal bodies, but compassion changed lives. And leadership wasn't about being the smartest person in the room, it was about listening to the bravest. Years later, when Maya became head of emergency medicine, she kept a photo on her desk. A young boy, smiling. On the back, 4 words were written in careful handwriting: "You didn't give up." Neither had Adrian, and the hospital was never the same again, not because of the millionaire doctor who noticed a new resident, but because he finally let her change everything.